If there's one weapon in this series that is considered to be as weeb as the longsword, it has to be the dual blades, which function as two long swords, but short and held in each hand. Is that a good analogy? I think so. The dual blades are great for players who want to break free from the slow, methodical struggle of some other weapons, and in turn gain the ability to rush across the map using their stamina for extra attacks, damage, and mobility. They were even a weapon type I considered using before ultimately choosing to dedicate my life to the longsword. Cool, quick, and flashy, the dual blades are great for anyone looking to start in the series or try something new, and we'll finally be looking at them today in this history lesson. As I mentioned in previous videos, I like to take your opinions into consideration when it comes to which weapon I will cover next. If you want your weapon to be covered soon, be sure to let me know in the comments. That being said, there's only like 3 left, so I'm considering doing Lance to get it out of the way so I can focus on the bowguns as the final entries in this series. Also, please consider liking and subscribing so the all-seeing eye of the YouTube algorithm will bless me and return my family. I entered the door to darkness thinking it was Kingdom Hearts, and now I'm currently stuck here with some old blonde man and a blue-haired girl who's slowly losing her mind. The vibes are really off here, so any help is appreciated. Anyway, I'm Super Rad, and this is the history of the dual blades. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Yes, that raid. Raid Shadow Legend has a whole world of amazing looking champions, all from their own unique faction, and those factions have a lot of lore. Here's a quick dive into the first faction that you'll meet, the Bannerlords. Use my links below to download Raid yourself to your mobile device or PC. So these Bannerlord guys are like the main human dudes in Talaria, which is where Raid takes place. Nowadays, the Bannerlords have really lost their way, and I mean like really lost it, and when we meet them, they've just launched a war against the High Elves. Apparently King Taiba, or Taiba, who used to be a pretty chill guy, has come under the influence of a growing shadow legends. But is that true, or is something a little more nefarious going on? That's your job to figure out in chapter 1 of the campaign. And what I really like about the Bannerlords is how I can fill my party with a team of knights. And characters like Septimus really help scratch that high fantasy itch with the golden armor and the giant helmets. That's not all though. This month, Raid released tons of new content in-game. There's 11 brand new champions and almost 200 brand new missions to complete. And these missions come with an exclusive legendary champion as your reward. On top of that, almost every dungeon in the game has 5 brand new super difficult levels to try out. All this in just 1 month. Seriously, the game gets bigger and crazier every month, and there's never been a better time to get started. So what are you waiting for? Go to the video description, click on the links, and support the channel by downloading Raid today. Once you're in, you can find me under the in-game name Super Rad Lemon. Super easy, just hit the link in the description and I will see you in game. Dual blades honestly have some of the more interesting early history to go over, at least in my opinion. That's due to the fact that they showed up as early as Monster Hunter 1 for the PS2, but not in Japan. They were actually exclusive to the USA retail version of the game. This is something I've gone over in my mainline history series, and I suggest you give it a watch by clicking the link above. There was a small selection of weapons within the release, and they didn't come with their own tree. Instead, they were integrated into the sword and shield tree. But don't let that confuse you, as the weapons still functioned differently from sword and shield and had their own mechanics. Also, the weapons were originally known as dual swords, but would later be renamed to dual blades in later generations. For the sake of clarity, I'll be using footage from Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, and I'll be condensing generations 1 and 2 into the same section. There are minor differences between the two generations that I'll go over when they come up, but for the most part, the weapon remained relatively the same because the weapon really doesn't have that much depth to it overall, at least on the surface. Despite the flare, it's actually pretty simplistic in its game plan and design, and remember I said that when you get to the outro. Dual blades function like this. You have your basic draw attack that works as a gap closer of sorts and can be used while unsheathed by pressing triangle and circle together while moving. Pressing triangle after this attack will allow you to perform an upward swinging attack, but it doesn't seem to have any crazy follow-ups. It can be done after a roll to get a quick hit in, however. Now your basic combo is going to be performed by pressing the triangle button, and this is what you would generally expect from any weapon in the series, right? Right. The difference now is that while most weapons will perform 1 to 3 attacks in their triangle combo, the dual blades will actually get up to 6 total. However, the triangle button only needs to be pressed up to 3 times, and each of these individual hits have their own motion values. There's also also a round slash attack that can be performed by pressing the circle button. In Generation 1, you couldn't influence the direction of this attack, and you would always move slightly to the right. Starting in Generation 2, you could actually hold left to move in the opposite direction slightly during the animation. On its own, the round slash is alright, but it really shines when combined with the triangle combo. In between any of the 3 triangle presses, you can interrupt a normal combo to follow it up with a round slash attack. Now, where the weapon really gets its anime flair is from the demon mode ability, which is activated by pressing R or R1 while unsheathed. It could also be activated while sheathed by pressing triangle and circle and R together. It's a cool ability because it unlocks extra attacks for the player and potentially higher motion values. However, it's at the cost of stamina and can run out fairly quickly if you aren't paying attention. Things like getting hit by a monster's attack will also knock you out of it, but you do gain a small amount of wind pressure resistance and super armor to help try to minimize this slightly. Things like dash juices are also somewhat effective at keeping the mode activated, but while they have a specific activation period, set amount of time is shortened when using the demon mode, meaning you'll actually burn through your dash juices faster than normal. All of your attacks are going to be stronger in this mode, about a 33% motion value increase, and some moves contain different animations. This motion value increase would get nerfed heavily in later generations. Now, the round slash attack gets an extra spin at the end of its animation, and there's a brand new move the hunter can utilize by pressing triangle and circle while in this state. This attack is called Demon Dance and is a 10-hit combo that, if it manages to fully connect, unleashes a huge amount of damage on the monster, and is something that can even function as an opener when entering into demon mode. Due to its long animation, you might think it's better to focus on your normal arsenal when fighting in this state and only use the Demon Dance during big openings or opportunities, but that isn't the case. The attack had extremely high damage over time and a good chance of flinching the monster, meaning it was relatively risk-free and kind of overshadowed the rest of the weapon's arsenal. Additionally, Generation 2 added a mechanic where pressing circle again during the first part of the round slash attack would immediately have you enter into the Demon Dance combo if in demon mode. There are actually many things you can cancel out of the round slash attack, such as a dodge roll by pressing X and either left or right, or the weapon's dash attack by pressing triangle. You can even perform this dash attack by pressing triangle immediately after entering demon mode. One final thing to note, the dual blades have an incredibly detrimental elemental modifier associated with them, using about 70% of what's actually shown on the weapon. This would be the case until Generation 4, where a large rebalancing effort would take place. Like I mentioned, the weapon is incredibly simplistic in its design, and while effective, doesn't have as much nuance in comparison to some of the other weapons out there at the time. That being said, we'll head over to Gen 3 and see what extras were added. Like many other weapons, the dual blades did not show up in Tri, but did reappear in Portable 3rd onward. Starting with some basic additions, the round slash attacks have been reworked into a combo maneuver. Instead of circle performing said round slash attack, you would first perform a slashing attack that is much quicker. However, this slashing attack can be followed up with the second circle press to lead into the traditional round slash attack you may be used to. Just note that when in demon mode, a circle press would automatically start the round slash attack with the extended animation. The traditional combo with triangle while in normal mode also became slightly faster. A demon mode specific move was also added called Demon Dash, allowing the hunter to dash forward by pressing the X button at the cost of stamina. It's a pretty costly ability considering your stamina is already being drained while running demon mode, so it makes it even more important to utilize things like dash juice. Hunters can also strafe by holding left or right before pressing the X button, either after an attack or after a forward dash, making them highly mobile. Remember how I mentioned that you could cancel out of the round slash attack while in demon mode? Well, instead of canceling into a dodge roll, you will cancel into the Demon Dash. And if you want to cancel into the Demon Dance, you need to press triangle and circle together instead of just circle. This change would persist throughout future generations. Onto the brand new mechanic in this generation, Portable 3rd introduces the Demon Gauge to the dual blades. While in demon mode, landing attacks will contribute to this gauge slightly. By filling up this gauge, the hunter will be placed into Arch Demon mode, a state that is independent of demon mode entirely and doesn't drain stamina over time. Instead, by attacking or using evasive options, the hunter will drain their demon gauge instead. So what's the point of Archdemon mode? Well, it essentially allows you to play within normal mode and without stamina loss, while also bringing over some of the aspects of the traditional demon mode. For example, the hunter can still use the new Demon Dash while in this state, and while it will still drain stamina, it is much easier to manage thanks to stamina not being constantly drained by the demon state. On top of that, attacks are faster, and a hunter can even weave into a few hits of the Demon Dance combo through their traditional combos. And while While the circle button will still perform the new downward slash attack before the round slash, said round slash will perform the full combo seen in demon mode. It seems like Archdemon mode was added as a means of getting players to focus less on prioritizing being in demon mode. That being said, while slight changes to attack animations and attack speed are nice, it's hard to not want to focus solely on the new demon mode moves that have higher motion values. There's also no inherent boost to motion values within this generation or the next, meaning that the point of entering demon mode is solely to get access to the new moves that are not available otherwise. With that out of the way, let's check out Generation 4 and how it changed the formula. Overall, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate seemed to rebalance dual blades heavily while still adding in a few mechanics here and there to help incentivize players into utilizing Archdemon mode. For the most part, the weapon is slower than before and sharpness depletes about twice as fast from what I understand, but it tries to make up for this with boosted elemental damage, raising the modifier from times 0.7 all the way back up to times 1 and reworking the demon gauge so that it depletes slower than in previous generations. For jumping attacks, there's two major mechanics the weapon can perform while in the air. First is your traditional attack by pressing the Nintendo X button after a jump. The hunter will perform a double attack that can be followed up with an upswing. Alternatively, you can demon dash off of the ledge in order to perform a 4-hit spinning attack that can function as a gap closer. Pressing X during this specific move will allow the hunter to land with a grounded spinning attack that can also follow up with an upswing. By the way, the grounded part of the spinning attack still causes mounting damage. There's also a new option for canceling out of the round slash attack while in demon mode. Originally, the hunter could press triangle or X on Nintendo consoles to perform the dual blades attack, but this has been reworked into a brand new move. Now hunters can perform a spinning, multi-hit gap closer for high damage. This move will also replace your dash attack while in Archdemon mode and also gets built into the combos of Archdemon mode. You can press X plus A during a combo to tap into the shortened version of the demon dance and then press X to do this new spinning attack. From what I can tell, players seem to be fairly outspoken about disliking the dual blade changes in Monster Hunter 4 and 4 Ultimate, mostly revolving around the rebalancing issues. Despite that, the new mechanics to the weapon made it much faster than before and allowed it to more easily stick closer to a monster for long periods of time, overall boosting its effectiveness via playstyle in my opinion. Moving on to Generations Ultimate, we can take a look at not only the mechanical changes, but also some of the styles and arts that really helped make the weapon shine. For highest DPS, Striker style was king, but both Adept and Valor styles were pretty much tied for a close second, with Valor being slightly better. For that reason, we'll take a look at Striker and Valor to see what each offered. You might be surprised to hear Striker style is so good since it completely removes Archdemon mode and the demon gauge from your arsenal. To make up for this, there's more of a reliance on spamming Devil's Dance and also offering a means of evade canceling out of its recovery animation, which hasn't been possible in previous entries. This means one of the best moves in the dual blade arsenal was now much safer than it ever had been, and hunters could bring 3 styles with them on a hunt. Specifically, you'd see hunters bringing Spiral Slice, Wolf's Maw, and the generic but effective Absolute Readiness. Spiral Slice in particular was a great ability due to it dealing damage regardless of where it hit on the monster, but it was truly effective when hitting a weak zone on the monster as the player would latch on for additional damage. The other unique hunting art for dual blades, Wolf's Maw, paired nicely with Spiral Slice. When activated, it would allow the hunter to perform double the amount of hits per attack without an increased loss to sharpness. However, these attack hits were somewhere around 20% to 30% the damage of a normal attack depending on the tier of the ability. This carried over to hunter arts like Spiral Slice that would also get the double hit effect. Now, what made Valor style different was that it replaced Demon mode and Archdemon mode with the Valor state. In fact, you can't go into Demon mode at all while building up the Valor gauge. Instead of going into Demon mode, pressing R will actually have you sprint forward at a high stamina cost. This is somewhat similar to an ability seen in the Extreme style from Monster Hunter Frontier, where it was possible to sprint with the weapon drawn. For sheath canceling, pressing the X button will do a forward slash attack similar to the dash attack. Alternatively, you can press X plus A to perform the first few hits of the Demon Dance attack. Once in Valor mode, the new Valor dash will gain a counter attack effect that sharpens the weapon and allows the hunters to continue their combo, meaning it's a great way to keep sharpness up and therefore DPS uptime active. Additionally, the traditional Demon Dance mechanic can be activated during a combo and the hunter will essentially be in a permanent Archdemon state until the Valor gauge runs out. Both Striker and Valor really allowed the dual blades to shine, and abilities that could be used together like Wolf's Maw and Spiral Slice really helped push the DPS to its limits. The core of the weapon didn't see many changes on top of the added generation specific abilities, but we'll move on to Generation 5 now to see how it chose to adjust the dual blades. World takes the dash attack from previous generations and assigns it directly to the circle button, meaning instead of doing a downward slash first, you instead start with a lunging strike and can then combo into the round slash we've seen previously. Additionally, while the round slash used to lean to the right by default, it now instead leans to the left and requires input to move to the opposite direction. There's a brand new repositioning tool unique to normal mode known as the turn slash that can be used after a triangle attack by pressing the circle button while holding back, left, or right on the left analog stick. This move is great for keeping the hunter facing a mobile monster without the need to stop attacking. Demon mode also gains a new repositioning, Infinite, holding left or right on the analog stick while pressing the final triangle input during your normal combo. The hunter will reposition slightly in the desired direction and reset their combo. This can be performed indefinitely, and I mean actually indefinitely, because if you are mid-combo when your stamina runs out, you'll continue regardless. Probably not advised, as you'll be leaving yourself open when the need to dodge presents itself, but still a pretty cool inclusion. The animation for Demon Dance has also been changed, and you can immediately enter Demon Dance through the spinning flurry rush attack. Circle combos in Demon mode have also been completely reworked. Instead of starting with an in-place round slash, you'll now immediately go into the lunging spinning attack known as Demon Flurry Rush, and this can be followed up with a traditional Demon mode round slash attack combo. For Archdemon mode, it's almost exactly what you would expect it to be, as it follows the similar tradition of previous generations of borrowing some moves from Demon mode while effectively keeping you in normal mode. You can press triangle and circle to do a shortened version of the Demon Dance, combo into a few Demon mode attacks, and even perform the Demon Flurry Rush attack into the round slash as a finisher. Aerial attacks are pretty much the same, but if in Demon mode and sliding, you can press circle to do an aerial sliding slash attack that can combo into your traditional spinning aerial combo. This attack is particularly interesting because if it connects with a monster, it propels you forward and keeps the spinning motion going, and damage will continue to output. As long as you can travel along the monster, you'll output a large chunk of damage, acting like a human buzzsaw. This can also be activated by demon dashing off of a ledge or demon dashing into a runnable wall. Iceborne introduces a few brand new mechanics as well, mainly a dedicated dodge function that requires slinger ammo. After loading ammo, the hunter can press L2 in between a triangle attack to perform a slinger burst into a directional dodge. This can be used for evading or repositioning while also attempting to get a stagger out of the monster. Now, while some weapons require you to specifically use slinger ammo found around the field, dual blades specifically let you use any type. As an example, you could slot in flash pods, then fire them out while dodging to either blind an enemy or maybe knock down a flying wyvern. It also gains the ability to grapple with the clutch claw at the end of the circle round slash combo while in demon mode, but when beginning the grapple, the hunter can press triangle to perform a faster dual blade specific attack. Moving on to Monster Hunter Rise, we can take a look at some of the core changes of the weapon as well as switch skills and silkbind attacks. This entry already makes some immediate changes to the combos we saw in World. For example, the repositioning mechanic mid-combo while in normal mode is directly tied to the X button, meaning holding back on the left analog stick and pressing X mid-combo will allow you to perform the turning slash attack, which repositions you to face the opposite direction. But holding left or right will actually put you into the round slash combo instead of just simply repositioning you. The weapon will generally function like you expect it to from World, however, but with small changes here and there. Some other changes include the fact that exiting out of demon mode is now an attack if performed immediately after an initial attack. And Archdemon Dance has been reworked into a triple attack combo, that being Demon Flurry 1 into Flurry 2 into Flurry 3. It's actually a bit stronger than Demon Dance, but longer to compensate. You can also change the direction of Demon Dance to any angle after a spinning Flurry Rush now. The first Silkbind ability is Piercing Bind, which functions as an added DPS mechanic to benefit your combos. The hunter will throw a kunai that attaches itself to the monster that will explode over time, dealing a set amount of damage. However, the hunter can attack during this timer to create two beneficial effects. First, each attack the hunter lands will deal a small amount of extra damage from the kunai. Second, when the kunai does explode, it will deal a higher amount of damage than if you didn't attack at all. This move costs one Silkbind ability. Shrouded Vault is the second Silkbind ability that functions both as a gap closer and a counter attack. It won't do any damage if not counter attacking, however, so it's best to use it when advancing on an attacking monster for a multi-hit effect. This move also costs one Silkbind ability. Tower Vault is the unlockable Silkbind ability and also costs one Wire Bug, but I'm honestly unsure what the benefit of it is. The move will launch the hunter upward and allow them to perform an aerial attack, and could be used to combo after a mid-demon flurry flight. Demon Flight is the new switch skill that can be swapped with the Demon Flurry seen in World. When the attack connects, the hunter is launched into the air where they will automatically perform an aerial Demon Flurry. Following that, the hunter can press X to perform a mid-air round slash or press A to perform a mid-air spinning blade dance. Now, Feral Demon Mode is potentially one of the larger changes seen in a switch skill, considering it replaces your speedy and mobile demon mode with a newer, more damage-oriented mechanic, which is hilarious considering the weapon is already about high DPS over time. The main difference is that the startup of the effect is a bit longer along with the evasion animations. To make up for that, you actually deal damage while evading, allowing you to keep DPS uptime. There's one other big difference, however, and that's the base attack bonus you'll get when entering this mode. Unlike Demon Mode, Feral will actually increase your raw damage by 20%, leading to better damage opportunities overall and making it the de facto mode to use within pretty much any scenario. It also seems to give the Constitution skill for free at some level between 4 and 5, meaning stamina depletion is significantly slower. Now, I think that's all I have for Generation 5 to discuss, but if I missed anything crucial, be sure to let me know. In the meantime, let's move on to the outro. Overall, Dual Blades came off incredibly simplistic on a surface level. It's not surprising that it can often get lumped in with weapons like the Longsword as button-mashing weeb swords used by unga-bunga players who don't want to learn the real game. But that's stupid, and if you think that, you are stupid. A stupid little poo-poo baby man. Shut up. The Dual Blades, like all others in the series, have a deeper level of complexity than you may expect. While the feature set isn't as large as weapons like the Charge Blade, it makes up for that in active meter management and proper mobility being necessary to get DPS uptime. Hell, the weapon basically has stances like a fighting game and actively changes how you play it depending on what mode you're in. Generation 5 seemed to heighten the mobility and movement options of the Dual Blades to help make it shine even brighter. However, Rise looks to give players the option of slowing down ever so slightly in order to deal an incredibly large amount of damage that was previously not possible. The weapon really does shine currently when it comes to player choice, and the visual flair of launching off of monsters, dealing high damage, and running around like Naruto during the Sasuke retrieval arc can't be understated. Anyway, that's all I have for you today about the Dual Blades. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know what your favorite weapon is and what weapon you want me to cover next. I'm also streaming regularly on Twitch now, and our Discord is growing rapidly, so if you want to join the community and maybe participate in viewer hunts, feel free to stop by. Hey, you made it to the Patreon tier section of this video. Thank you so much. This is where I shout people out and have their name in the credits depending on what kind of tier they have pledged on Patreon. If you want to take part, feel free to check out the link in the description. It is super duper appreciated. Super appreciated. Anyway, let's talk about the G rank tier pledges. First up, we have Rob3. Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Agatosh, thank you so much for the support. I believe you and Rob are both new to May. We do a little gaming. Thanks so much. We do a little pledging as well, as you guys can see here. Thank you for the G rank tier. Kinky King, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the G rank tier. That name always gets me, but hopefully I'm saying it right. I think I am. Ryan Marion, thank you so much for the G rank tier. I appreciate it. Cyberworm, you as well. Thank you for the G rank tier. Mogvit, thank you so much for all of the support, especially the G rank tier. It is highly appreciated. Loose Tall Goose, thank you so much for the G rank tier as always. Kathleen Medjuk, thank you for the G rank tier. It is highly appreciated. Crunchy Cowroo, thank you so much for the G rank tier. I highly appreciate it, Crunchy. And same to you, Jonathan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that G rank tier, Jonathan. Keep up the good work, Jonathan. Strangely, thank you so much as always, big supporter of the channel. Thank you for the G rank tier. It's amazing. It's super great and awesome and poggers. Ben VB, Gigachad Pog Man, let's go. Thank you so much for the G rank tier. Awesome. Lud Hifumi, thank you so much for the G rank tier. Congratulations on the Zenogre Jasper. Rosa Leo, thank you as always for the G rank tier. You're amazing. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Justin Regal, thank you so much for the G rank tier. You're awesome, and I appreciate it. Same to Kepler, who is also awesome because they also pledged the G rank tier. Thanks so much, Kepler. And Mr. Janky, as always, thank you, Mr. Janky. I appreciate having you as a friend and a pledge on the Patreon. And congratulations on getting shouted out here. Thank you for playing Tekken with me. And that's it. Again, if you want to be on the Patreon, check it out. There's a bunch of ways that you can support the channel, mostly just by watching the videos and checking me out on stream and stuff like that. I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me, and I will see you in the next video.